We are live. We are live. We are live. Happy
Morning.
Monday. Oh, yeah. The hustlers out there listening. Happy Monday. Hopefully you're getting after it. Welcome to the Non-Corporate Network. My name is Chaz Motter.
Dustin, Trout.
And you are watching Fill in the Blank. We made this show because we're both former athletes and we watch way too much ESPN. And we also noticed that there's not enough business content out there that's focused on business, marketing, and what's happening right now in the world of small business. So we decided that we were going to make a show that was more entertaining, more quick hit and heavy hitting. And I think that, I've got a great guy over here that is got some strong opinions. I have some strong opinions, obviously. So I am fired up today. We've got a list of some good topics,
Let's get after it. Let's just...
The way that this works is that we are going to run through topics quickly. We're going to have 3 minutes on the clock for us to argue with each other about each one of these stories that we put up. And we'll see if we can find some common ground. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get our first story kicked off. You ready? Okay, so YouTube is working on a competitor to TikTok called Shorts. TikTok has grown 125% year over year over the last 2 years, and they have had 825 million unique downloads over the last 12 months. So YouTube, obviously, in classic fashion, has decided, hey, how can we put out something to grab up some of that market share and see if we can become a competitor? What do you think about this?
I think it's great. I mean, they're sitting on tons of music licenses, which is how TikTok, former Musical.ly, grew quite a bit. I mean, that's always been the downfall of any music stuff, is not being able to use current music or anything like that. And so I think in today's world, when it's all about figuring out how to do things better and keep innovating, they're seeing that attention is going over there. So using whatever they have to gain that attention.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
I think that YouTube has already created one feeble attempt to copy features of Instagram with the YouTube stories. I don't know if you've seen those. I just think that they need to stick to what they're good at. They are the authority in the space of long-form video content. They're the authority. They have nobody that is legitimately competing with them. So kind of coming after a short form video doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. The other thing that I'm looking at here is that, YouTube is owned by Google, and Google has not done notoriously well in the world of social media. They don't have a portfolio of businesses that are even social media related. And, they tried this whole Google Plus thing. They ended up having to flush that down the toilet after millions of dollars. So I'm worried that YouTube is outgunned in terms of, consumer-facing social media.
Yeah, but I mean, ask companies like Polaroid what sticking to your lane and not innovating has done. They're not really around anymore. And I mean, it's if you keep doing your thing, sure, you're going to get so far. But if you want to play the long-term game, you have to keep innovating. Even if it means kind of going outside your lane, it's still consumable content and still in video form. So I think it's a smart move on their part.
Well, I don't know how they're going to grab enough content creators to shift the focus from TikTok. I mean, it really takes them the same way we saw with like Microsoft gaming systems, where they are going and buying up players like Ninja to bring an audience over to their platform. I don't know how they're going to go and do what TikTok has done. I mean, 825 million unique downloads in 1 year is ridiculous. They have over 1 billion people on their platform. So I'm not bought into the fact that they can even acquire customers. They're going to pour money into this product to not even get people on it.
Yeah, no, they had the money. We'll see if they can be innovative and reach that younger audience. And who knows, maybe that younger audience is just totally against Google. Who knows? But I think they're going to get innovative and figure it out.
Touche.
Looks like we actually have a question from the audience.
Oh, okay.
One of the questions from Tanel Lewis. She said, I haven't taken time to check out TikTok yet. How are the two similar or different?
How is TikTok similar to like Shorts? Okay.
that.
Well, TikTok is essentially 1 minute video content. It's kind of like Instagram. You can pause the video, but there's no ancillary features other than the content that's in front of you. So it's really just you're swiping through full screen video stories that can be up to a minute long. But yeah, not a whole lot of interaction there, but I think the content is really going viral in the terms of, you know, what they're doing with the challenges and the Renegade and all that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry I tried to do that.
On to the next topic. So
Let's do
Amazon has supported affiliate marketers quite a bit. I mean, a huge chunk of their sales come from affiliate links. They just announced that they are cutting affiliate commissions upwards of 62%. And this is across the board. We live in a capitalistic world, and I think it's great. It's helping their revenue. And what are your thoughts?
I'll tell you, Amazon has got a unique kind of leg up in the sense that, eMarketer reported that 46.7% of product-related searches are starting on Amazon, where only about 36% of those searches are starting on Google, which tells me that they're becoming a search engine in and of themselves. And when you have that much traffic, you don't necessarily have to fork over that amount of commissions. But, in my opinion, I'm against it, okay? Like, I'll come out and say I'm against it. They've got 750,000 employees. They've got a network of almost 2 million affiliates. The reason that these people and there's competition in this industry is because they're able to reward people that are, doing well handsomely. It creates competition, which in turn creates revenue. And so I think that, the other thing too here is that they made $87 billion last year. I think that they can afford to keep these people around, especially during this time. Like, reward the people that are using your product, like, why are you going to pull the rug out from under them right now?
Yeah, I mean, and they're not entirely pulling it out because they've cut commissions. Not like they've gotten rid of it, commissions entirely, and they're just doing what they need to do. They used affiliate marketing, which is smart marketing, to grow the brand, and now that they're seeing increased searches being done on the platform, they don't need to rely or pay for the marketing or the affiliate marketing as much, and so it's in their best interest to kind of cut those down a bit, increase the revenue, and who knows, maybe they find a whole new business line or something to then incorporate affiliates elsewhere.
Well, I'm just not bought into the fact that they're even going to keep the affiliates around at all. I look at this as something where they have continued to find the trending products that are selling best on their platform, and then they go and create a private label version of that and start to push the affiliates out. So it's like the place where you created your business off of this affiliate network, they're now pulling it out from under people. I mean, Salesforce is such a big business because of their sales distribution. Mm-hmm. And I think that Amazon has capitalized off that to this point. So to, pull back on that, I think is a shame for the people that love them. But, I'm not convinced that they're not going to trust bust them up here in the next couple of years.
Yeah, and I think, who knows? Who's to say they're not going to join the real estate game and need those affiliates to kind of get that line of their business out there, whatever it may be.
That's true.
It'll be interesting to see. And it goes back to maybe affiliates shouldn't put all their eggs in one basket and kind of diversify their affiliate.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I hear you. Next up, we're looking at LinkedIn. Is LinkedIn a viable place for B2C marketing? We know it is. We know it's a great place to advertise and to reach out from a B2B perspective. But is it viable from a B2C standpoint? Dustin, what do you think about this?
I think absolutely not. We're getting this question quite a bit from clients, and I think it's not because of the CPMs. It just costs so much more to reach people on LinkedIn as opposed to other channels, but I'm interested to hear your thoughts.
Well, I mean, you talk about why it's more expensive, but the only reason that you would go after from a B2B perspective, if it's more expensive, is because there's more money to be made. I'm sure there's certain products that you're going to be pulling in the same ACV or average contract value as you would off of a business deal. I mean, I don't know if you're going to be selling jet skis on LinkedIn, but I think there's products out there that are relevant from a B2C standpoint. I think the other thing is, from a targeting standpoint, there's not a platform like LinkedIn in the sense that you can really validate people's actual job roles and industries that they're involved in. Facebook, you can do a very vague target of people that work at certain businesses. But I think that this layer of your specific job role is something that can be baked into people's ideal customer persona when they're actually going and finding customers and prospecting the right ones. So I'm all for it. I mean, I get it's more expensive. Just, be mindful of that, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean, I hear you on the targeting, and if the job title is what you're trying to target just so that you can get someone that's more affluent or whatever it may be for those high ticket items. There are other channels like programmatic, such as the Trade Desk or Choozle, where you can target based off a job title, and you're looking at $8 CPMs instead of $90 CPMs. So it's 9x more expensive to reach them on LinkedIn. And when I'm browsing LinkedIn, I'm probably not thinking, or not probably, I'm not thinking about buying jet skis or a house or anything like that. I'm looking to network or connect. And so, I mean, we're all about the data and trying to drive the highest return on investment. And so I think introducing those high ticket items on different channels outside of LinkedIn is probably what's going to generate the highest return on that investment.
Yeah, no, it's hard to argue this in the CPM for those of you out there. It's the cost per 1,000 impressions in advertising. I'll tell you the thing that I see as an opportunity here as well, and even just from a consumer standpoint, there's a fraction of people creating regular content on LinkedIn compared to the amount of people that are just consuming content. So I think that there's eyeballs there that are going across and looking at business content. So I think that if you're a creator in that niche, or that you can kind of benefit from that creating content is a step in the right direction to starting to advertise there.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's if you're creative, which that's what it's all about, is being creative. If you can tie that high ticket item into a B2B ploy or somehow business related, I think that's where the white space is. Yeah. Good thought. So Yelp has offered or is bringing to the table a relief package for restaurants and other industries that have been impacted by this COVID-19, which include waiving advertising fees, access to page upgrades, 90-day free access, to Yelp reservations and wait lists, and then $100 credit towards their marketing. I think it's great. They're figuring out how to help during a time of need. But what are your thoughts, Chaz?
I'm starting to get a little bit of the anger is coming up from my belly here. I'm notoriously not a Yelp fan. What I will say is that the ethos behind this story is great, but how are you going to give people access to free things on a platform that no one uses? I am really curious. Like, if this was Google, that'd be one thing. Hey, we're going to give you advertising credits. No one is on Yelp looking at stuff. They're not there. They're just not. And on top of that, I think that, trying to set themselves up to say, hey, we're doing this $25 million relief thing. It's like, that's $25 million is worth nothing. That's $25 million of advertising credits that are worth nothing. So this isn't like, oh, we're giving back to our small businesses $25 million. They're going, here's an empty bag of air. Like, congratulations. So it is mind-boggling to me that they're going to try to paint themselves as some hero amid the coronavirus and come out with some story about how amazing they are and how they're helping small businesses. Shame on you, Yelp. Shame on you. Go pull $25 million real dollars out of your pocket and give it back to the businesses if you want to help. But giving them advertising credits that mean nothing is not going to help them at all whatsoever.
So, I mean, going back to Louis Vuitton in our last episode, do you think this is them actually trying to help and do good, or is this more of a headline grab?
They're about to, they should have just let Google buy them, to be honest.
Was that a thing?
They denied a sale for $2 billion to Google, and that's
Ouch.
their only competitor. They're probably wishing they had that money now. Honestly, I think that it is absolutely ridiculous. They're trying to tread water with ankle weights on, and it is not going well for them. So, Louis Vuitton is a successful business and they're going to be just fine. Yelp, on the other hand, I cannot say the same thing. I am not convinced that they're going to be able to make it. And, I think that this is just a last ditch attempt to try to remain relevant in the conversation. But,
I mean, they're trying to figure it out. And even though it's not hard money that they're giving back to businesses, it is a credit to get out there, which then creates opportunity and puts revenue or hard-earned dollars in those restaurants' pockets. So I think, to your point, it's not hard-earned money, but it's still something that leads to revenue, which could help stimulate the economy. Next up, Apple and Google. We all know them. They're trying to create a way to help track everyone so that they can contain the spread of COVID-19. Is this good or is this scary?
Of course you're trying to steal my data.
For the people, Chaz.
Chaz is for the people. in their data privacy. Honestly, I think that, it's a creative way for them to pull a little bit more data out of people where they paint themselves as the hero that's going to save coronavirus. I honestly am, and they're tracking, you tell them the full story, Dustin. Tell them about the location data that they want to take from people.
Yeah, so it's most people have Google Maps, Google or Apple Maps on their phone, or many apps that allow them to track your location. And so with this, you're already opted in, so it's not like you're handing over information you're not already handing over, so why not use it in a good way to see where people are going? If they're infected or whatever it may be, it's a way to use data to help expedite the fix in all this. And
expedite is expedite another word for monetize? Is that what I'm hearing? I think that
synonymous.
The whole idea here is that, you're giving your data to Google to track location so that you can figure out where the nearest grocery store is. That's not something that is necessarily being monetized, where now, they're even creating targeting geographically where you can paid advertise to people in certain areas. They're figuring out ways to associate you going somewhere with $1. I'm not convinced that they're going to do anything to stop the virus as much as they're going to do things to pad their bank accounts,
Hey, if we can help stop the virus, that's huge. But as a marketer, if we could then be more methodical in our targeting and create relevant messages, it's going to help everyone. So I think it is a good ploy. It's not, like I said, it's not like everyone's giving new information that they haven't been giving already. And so I think it's a good move, especially if it can help get our economy back on track and stop the spread of the virus.
Well, at least we're not talking about Apple Maps, because they take me to
I think they're getting rid of that too.
Really?
I saw, I think a month ago that, I think they're finally giving it up.
That's crazy. Well, and I'm sure that, because Apple's involved, they're probably in some regard. I would like to see maybe the CEO come out and talk about this. I think that when they just throw these stories up, like it to me, without any context behind it, like I want to know from the top, what is the reasoning behind this and what are your plans? Because hearing it off of like a third-party news outlet doesn't give me the warm and fuzzies. It makes me think that, like, why wouldn't they have come out and made a bigger deal about this or had a press conference about this if they weren't trying to do something shady?
And let's be honest. Anytime someone gets in front of a camera and talks like that, is it always 100% honest? So either way, you're still going to get the warm and fuzzy.
Okay. Well, our last story, Entrepreneur came out and they did a survey of thousands of small business owners and found that the sweet spot for discounting products is 30%. Discounting your products 30% is the best way to get people to buy right now. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's a great way to get people to buy, but what I would be mindful of from a consumer perspective is, are those prices going up 30, 35% now? So
yeah.
Sure, we're offering 30% off, but
exactly.
They're still breaking even.
Yeah. No, I think that it's funny, and I think that, one thing that was very interesting to me in this story was that people, almost no one surveyed wanted 10% off. So if you're one of those businesses out there that's like, well, we don't want to discount it too much, we'll give them 10% off. Unless you're like a car dealership or something, 10% off is not really going to move the needle. So if you're like, well, 30% is too much, but I'll do 10, that's not going to get somebody to want to buy anymore. I think that you have this kind of hill that you're sitting on the top of, and it's like you're teetering back and forth, and that 30% is the point where it's like, okay, fine, I'll go ahead and buy. And I thought it was lower. I thought maybe it would have been closer to like 15, 20%, but consumers out there, they want their discounts.
Yeah, to your point, it's if you're gonna offer something, you might as well just go all in and lean into it.
That's true.
It's just knowing your numbers. But yeah, to your point, if you're offering 10%, maybe, and then this is where all about testing. So come up with messaging that's 10% off, do another 30% off. Because it's monetary and impacts the wallet, the 30% is probably going to be better. But
yeah, in terms of the wallet, I think this study also mentioned 84% of Americans right now are insecure about their finances and what's going to be happening to them over the next 12 months. So I think that, anything you can do to pass the savings on to the customer is going to build you some brand kind of loyalty, and it's going to allow you to create more of an LTV off the customers. But, you know, at the end of the day, businesses have to make money too. And, you know, those margins dropping from, like, I mean, that's 30% of the money that they would be profiting. That can be all the difference between keeping employees around, you know, and the other side of the coin is too, if you're going to discount, then the best way to get it out there is to pay for advertising. So now you're not only taking 30% off of the money you're going to make, but now you're also spending money to acquire those customers. So, you know, you got to have a little bit of disposable income in the bank account, I guess, to be able to make this happen.
And that's, I mean, you're literally in my head, and that's where you could offer the 30%. Maybe you're not making a profit on the sales of it, but what you're doing is building brand equity and getting maybe first-time customers, which then once we get through this and people are spending more, I hope you're building that database of those people that are buying, and then create those other sales opportunities down the line. And so even though, I mean, this is a fascinating conversation, typically is that first-time purchase is typically the most expensive. And even if you don't profit on that first one, it's all about how you're creating that long-term value and the lifetime
drive the
value.
expansion. Yeah. No, I agree. Oh, perfectly timed. No, it was on 0 for a few seconds. Thanks, Kolton, for helping us out with that, keeping us on track. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you for the questions. Continue to submit ideas for us. If there's stories that you guys come across that you think are interesting, that you want us to argue about. But you know, we really appreciate you guys sticking around for this time. And if you have suggestions too, you know, if you want to we want to see more stories, you want it to be shorter, we're always open to hearing feedback. And yeah, we want to make this for you guys.
Maybe create like a Facebook group or some type of email list or something. Because as I'm going on the other side, it's like, wait, how do I even submit these ideas?
Right.
Yeah, that's what we're to do on.
That's true. We kind of jumped into this, but you know. No, I'm excited about it, and you know, again, I appreciate you guys, and thanks to the whole team here for the work that they're doing, and we'll be back. We're gonna be trying to do this 3 times a week.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah, so we'll be back again. Let's call it 8 a.m. We're kind of figuring that out, you know. So we'll nail down a few more details for you guys. We promise. We figure we might as well just throw it out there and see what we can do.
We're gonna grow each episode. We're gonna get a way for you guys to send ideas. Then we're gonna be able to land on the actual time of everything.
Oh yeah,
we're figuring it out. We're
gonna have a website one day, dude. It's gonna be crazy. Well, thank you guys again for being here. Again, this was Fill in the Blank. You were watching the Non-Corporate Network. I'm Chaz Motter.
Dustin Trout.
Signing off.
See you Wednesday.